Welcome back to Awaken Atlanta. I am Tim Ray, your host, with the one and only and aggressively upset Shannon McVey about what's happening to this world right now.
Oh, okay.
Guys, go ahead.
I thought that was another joke because I'm pregnant. Aggressively upset.
Yes, her pregnancy is definitely a little too much for us to handle here in studio, but we're managing.
Oh, God.
Guys, we have...
Somebody bring me Waffle House now.
So we have Susan Winter. She's a relationship expert and best-selling author. We want to welcome her to the Awaken Atlanta experience. Welcome, Susan. How are you?
Hi, Tim and Shannon. I'm fine, thank you. How are you this morning?
Good. You calling from California?
I'm actually in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I live there.
You saved an hour there. You saved an hour. We didn't get you up too early, hopefully. So Susan,
it's early.
We're a very passionate show. We talk about things. We don't hold punches. We say our beliefs, whatever it may be. I want you to feel comfortable, too, to say your belief.
I heard.
But we were talking earlier about relationships, and, it seems to be a fine line in reference to an emotional affair with your another friend, and then your lover, your spouse, whoever it may be. Do you see a distinction in the line, or do you think that anybody should be able to be friends and jealousy shouldn't be an issue, or jealousy, if someone's jealous, you should honor that?
There's no black and white on this, but here's how it rolls out.
All right.
If you are in a committed relationship, living together, married, you're an established couple, and there is anyone, a mom, his mom, her mom, anybody on the outside that meddles or that affects the quality of that relationship or has a subtle reason to try to tear it apart, that's an issue. So emotional infidelity means that instead of going to your partner and revealing your feelings and your thoughts about things, you take all that precious personal information, trust, and honestly, intimacy, and you give it to somebody else. Like, what's up with that?
Yeah.
How can your partner not feel I understand. Say, for example, you have a partner that does a very, very specific kind of business, and there are dealings that you can't even begin to understand. It's not your world, and they will talk to a mate, in some kind of work mate. But the kind of emotional infidelity that you're talking about is when it is probably somebody that they could be attracted to, worse yet, somebody that they've had a relationship with in the past. And the person who is the other partner is experiencing discomfort because something it feels off.
Right.
There's another element in there that's kind of like, there's some romantic hints. It's way too close for my comfort. And then you can't blame that person for being jealous.
I love what you just said, because our guest prior basically said, no, if you have jealousy, that's your issue that you need to get over.
Shannon's being justified.
Oh, no. That's like the turnaround.
But
No.
Shannon now could kill people. She's justified to kill people, so go ahead.
It's the turnaround. So it's like, say you have a partner and they do something that hurts you, that's cruel, that's nasty,
right,
and then you speak up. Then they make you bad and wrong for bringing it up and say that you're reactive and you've got a problem because of what they created. It doesn't go like that.
Right.
There are people who are inherently jealous. I have had a friend and client, and no matter what he did, the nicest guy in the world, his girlfriend was encoded with this kind of cultural belief that guys cheat. It was her culture. She gets the good guy, and she was so clouded by this thought process that she couldn't see, and she made up stuff in her mind.
Yeah.
She'd be telling me stories, and I'd be witness to the whole thing going, what is she talking about? What movie?
Yeah.
So
there's a difference.
So I think there are two kinds of jealousy, founded and unfounded. There's jealousy where you've got real evidence and something isn't right, and you know it's not right. And then there's the unfounded jealousy where you just haven't worked out your own issues. And maybe that's what your other guest had been referring to.
Right.
But there are certainly times that people go over the edge and go right up to the edge and kind of lean over just to sniff and see what's on the other side. We don't want that.
I have a crazy personal story that people might identify with that I'm going to share with you, and you can tell people.
Did Shannon say she has a crazy personal story? Like, not all her stories are crazy, but okay.
All right. Listen. So I won't give names, but I will anyway. Yeah, my husband.
Okay.
He works in the film
That's an
industry,
identifier.
and we were at a party, a rap party he had just finished filming this show, and this young, beautiful girl, she wrote a script, and my husband was going to do her a favor by doing all the sound for free, basically, you know, for her, like, as a script, and he's like, every time I read that script, I was thinking of my wife the whole time. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, I thought about you the whole time. And he's saying it in front of this group of women, young women.
Aww.
So I went home and I read the script, and the script was all about this woman that, like, let herself go, didn't shave anymore. Oh, and I was so offended. I cried and I flipped out on him.
That probably wasn't what he was referring to in the script.
And he was like, no, Shannon, it was endearing. I thought you wanted this part and blah, blah, blah. And I still to this day think that was so evil. Go ahead, Doc.
Okay, but you know,
Wait,
you're not giving a lot of context there, but go ahead.
Yes, I did.
I really think that your husband probably was saying that for multiple of reasons. One, I was thinking of you, meaning, okay, I know I was helping her and she was really young and cute, but I was actually thinking about you for this. So that's the, okay,
It diffused the jealousy thing there.
Yeah, guys are not stupid. They know when you're getting a little, you know, so they're going to make sure they can do that. And I think he really meant it, that he saw you. Are you an actress as well?
No, I'm not. I'm a radio personality.
She kind of is in her own world.
Okay. Yeah. Then okay.
And she does kind of let herself go, I guess. I'm kidding.
I really do.
My goodness.
I can't lie. You should feel my legs right now, Susan.
Oh my goodness.
Susan, let me
Your poor hubby. Well, he's going to get a talking to. Oh boy.
So Susan, let me ask you another question of, like, what's going on right now with the new generations coming in, because we were talking about how, you know, just earlier how the men back, like more baby boomers, even Gen X's, are more kind of not as emotional, where kids now coming in are much more emotional. Boys, let's say, for example.
Well, yes and no. Here's a funny twist.
All right.
So fortunately, I come from the perspective of being able to look back on a multiple of generations. And I know what it's like to be in a committed partnership, and I know what it's like to be courted, and I know what it's like to be held and honored as, you know, the partner.
Oh.
And that's sacred, and that's, you know, people don't mess with that. And my partner doesn't mess with it. The new generations, while you are correct, they are more emotionally and psychologically aware, they're also more confused on the process and the structure of a romantic model. This is why we have so much enormous backlash. And I think a lot of these triggers for depression and mental illness have to do with the fact that normal coupling has become nearly impossible because people don't do it anymore.
Right.
They do these things called hookups.
Yeah.
So it's the most intimate act that two people could engage in. Do it with casual abandon, like, oh, I'm getting a cup of coffee. I'll sleep with this guy tonight, whatever. Oh, whatever. Right? And they do this thing, and then they worry that here's the term, catch feelings, like it's a virus, right? I'm going to catch feelings, like this is something bad. And so what they're doing is systematically trying to fragment themselves and pull their core out. So the only way to ride that ride and not become absolute roadkill is to get on the ride, and young women are trying to not feel. Their goal is to not feel the hurt. So it worries me greatly, and I actually have a career because of it. I mean, it just doesn't stop. I don't have enough hours in the day to help people.
It's almost like a flip-flop. It's almost like a flip-flop, Susan, right? I mean, like, before it was the guys not wanting to feel and the girls getting hurt. Now the girls are not wanting to feel and the guys are the ones getting hurt, right?
Well, yes and no. Everybody's getting hurt.
All right.
And I think that everybody's learning to shut down emotionally. So here's what happened. Around the year 2000, there was a major cultural shift. I actually felt it. I could see it happening because I'm in this realm. I'm a little bit of a futurist. I came from a whole nother career. This is never thought I'd be doing this. I was, a whole different career. So I started looking at what was happening. I went, wow, this is a mess. Everybody is crying. So what happened is they lost to tear down the cardboard cutout. The guy does this, the girl does this, or one partner does this, the other partner does that. They wanted freedom. And we know that if you're playing a role and you're just walking through the motions, you're never going to be happy, right? You're doing it for somebody else. So I love the fact about seeking authenticity. But the problem that happened is that when they erased all the rules and regulations and all the categories, they were left with rubble. They didn't create an infrastructure.
Right.
So I've been trying to do that for the last 20 years to give people safe landing, like, okay, just know what you want. Speak up, speak your truth, go create it. Now you've got a blank slate. You can do anything you want. So I try to teach them how to do it with integrity and value and stuff like that.
You simplified it with all the mess and chaos. You give them like a laser focus to be able to create what they want in this mess of garbage, right?
Yeah, because now that you don't have to play those rules and roles,
right?
What are your rules and roles?
Well, do you
need?
Don't you have to get off of TikTok and Instagram and all this other crap to be able to not get sucked up into that garbage?
It's their language. I remember my parents used to ask me why I was cutting holes in my blue jeans. Right? Like, we just bought you new blue jeans. Why are you cutting holes in it? So, it's their thing.
So I want to talk about that for a minute. So there are traditional roles that our parents experienced compared to me. Like I graduated in 2001, so that makes so much sense with where I am in my life. But don't you think that the traditional roles were better for the nuclear family?
Say healthier.
Okay.
I have to tell you, I like it as one of the options on the menu.
Okay.
It is the primary. This is the established model, but I'm a true advocate of people being honest with themselves. Come on, let's face it. How many people did you watch divorce? How many people did you watch get married for all the wrong reasons?
Right.
How many relationships did you see stick together under that thought system, which I agree keeps the family together, but they were miserable.
Right, yeah.
Now, let's say you take the same model. Okay, I'm a fan of monogamy. I don't care how you do it. I don't think you can multitask love. It's hard enough to get it right with one person. You add more people, you've got a mess.
Yeah.
But that's my choice, and I'm not ashamed of it. I don't feel like I'm like it's because I'm older. I like it.
Yes.
I've tried to be modern. I'm not. So I embrace it and I come to the table and go, this is what I do.
Right.
So I think as a foundational model, the monogamy in the nuclear family is great. I think what needs to be done to make it evolve in time is give it a little bit of space, meaning if you know that you can't do certain things, like, baby, I don't cook. I am not going to be the one in the kitchen. I will go make the money, and you can do this.
Yes.
Right? So, okay, that's a shift, right? So we have the structure, but I need it like this. So I teach what I call an a la carte menu. It's an a la carte method. I take clients and I work with them and I say, here's the coolest thing, you guys. I have discovered in my research and my work that it's not an issue of commitment. It's an issue of construct. This is brilliant. This is game-changing.
That is game-changing. Yeah, elaborate on that.
Most people will commit if they are stepping into a romantic structure that resonates with them.
Yes.
That makes them feel true and good, where they can be themselves, not where they have to be some other version of themselves to satisfy the world. So if you can find those little small, like, I'll take the eggs, but I don't want the yolk, and give me the bread, but no butter on it. You can alter the menu, then you can have what you want. And when you are living in truth about how you choose to express yourself, when you know how you are, then you can come with a better shot of being a good partner. Because you're not going to fail them.
Wait, can you time out on that? Can you make it work with somebody that you are miserable with? Can you shift something to make it a la carte to where you guys are starting to have a healthy, happy relationship?
I think you can.
I think so too.
We can never qualify, are they willing or able to make the shift with you? But one person, relationships are, I call it a double locking system. It's like on a teeter-totter. You remember as a kid with the teeter-totter, somebody with a different weight, you have to figure out how to adjust. Relationships are like that too. And if one person adjusts slightly, guess what? The other person has to adjust, right? So one person's awareness and coming forward and saying, baby, this is what I've discovered. We have this pattern of fighting. Every time you do this, I do that. I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
How can we I want to get us to a better place. And then you engage them in a conversation where you're negotiating as partners, not adversaries.
Right.
So there's a lot of communication, but that awareness, yes, one person can shift the dynamic. And if you want to do the quick down and dirty way, start to analyze the go-to places, like how does it decompose? You can see when they're getting testy, you know you need to pull back. Did you stay in too long? Are they going to blow up? Is that where you needed to take a walk? Is that where you needed to have a different response? So when we start to change our responses to some of their behavior that irritates us, they don't know what to do because now, they're pushing the buttons and we're not going there.
Right.
So start to shift
Doc,
the structure a little bit.
I think that's brilliant because what you're saying is, like you're in an old relationship and it's not working, right? But it's all because they feel like they got to be committed to each other. So you're shifting from commitment, the general blanket of commitment, to constructing the relationship, to construct. Like, we're going to construct a different relationship. Look, my needs need to be met, and I want to meet your needs as you meet my needs. And that's what you're saying.
Right.
It sounds so simple, but it does seem a little challenging for people to do. Why is that?
Well, it's commitment, but sometimes it's the small little things inside that over a long-standing relationship irritate people. Like, why am I always the one doing the dishes? You never do this and that, and it's that that creates the resentments, and then the anger builds up and the love goes away and there's no more physicality anymore. So sometimes it's explaining what we need and shifting our roles or re-looking at the relationship to see, we did our parent thing. What do we want to do now?
Right.
What do we need to do? What could we create? And go outside the box and experiment and then make that person your ally. Now there's another point that you brought up because part of this conversation was going into, other people and, other partners. And honestly, there are some people that should never sign up for marriage because they cannot do monogamy. They either won't or can't. And if they can't sort it out with a therapist what their issue is, and they know they shouldn't, they better start from the get-go and tell that partner, look, I want to be with you, but I don't do normal monogamy. I know that about myself. I don't want you to hate me. I don't want to break up the family unit. If you want me, we got to work this out. You've got to be okay with it. And are you okay with it? And if I know you just can't be greedy. 10 people may say, oh man, I don't want any of that. And the other person goes, you know what? I'm not so good at monogamy either.
Yeah.
But I want a family and I need a primary partner. So it gets a little tricky. You have to be aware. And
those are
sometimes
probably
you need
the happiest people out there.
Not
they
necessarily.
probably have figured it out.
I think there's a lot of people who seem happy, but just because a lot of people will give into that just to give it a try or whatever, or they're doing it because their partner wants it, but they really deeply don't want it and they're not able to express that. And you don't find that out until later on,
So, the self-discipline that it takes to be faithful, the payoff is the quality of love that you get from your partner. There's a quality of love. I mean, like I keep saying, you can't multitask love. You just, I see this all the time in the millennial dating world, dating multiple people.
Right.
Nobody's getting anybody. You give 30% to this one, 10 to this. I mean, you're not showing up fully, so you've got no investment. I mean, what kind of reward can you expect on the other end? The reward of monogamy is that person has made a commitment to be with you as long as they can and go through every single thing, leave no stone unturned until, you know what, we have to admit we can't do this, but we did a good job. Yeah. So it's a different construct, and you get a level of commitment and that person being there for you because you're willing to accept emotional responsibility for each other. Right. And that's the thing that people don't want to do. And they don't want labels. That whole thing about nobody wants a label. Oh, let's not label it. Because I don't want to be responsible for what you're feeling according to my actions.
That's as simple as it is.
I want to shift gears a little bit. I want to ask about in marriages, is it ever okay to have secrets in marriage? Whether it be something about financial, like say they have a bank account that they don't want you seeing, or
Shannon, what are you trying to get at?
I want to know. This is nothing personal. This is for other people.
She's asking for a friend. She's asking for a friend.
Tim, you ruin all my questions. Is it ever okay to have secrets in marriage, whether it's financial or anything else?
Let me put it this way. There will always be secrets in marriage.
Thank you.
Is it okay? Not when your partner finds out, but I understand I understand that each person needs to do what makes them feel safe and secure to be in that
God,
partnership.
I love you.
Sometimes,
Good.
sometimes for a lady, having an exit plan and a cushion waiting
Right.
in case things go south.
Right.
Right.
Maybe a guy too. Having a chick waiting in Paris in a little apartment probably isn't the kind of secret we want.
Right. I love how open and encouraging you are. Don't you feel that way?
It's amazing to me. Okay, you've been on CNN, ABC, Evening News, Oprah Winfrey, Today's Show. You've been on radio, NPR, all the works. But you said you're such a natural at this. But you said you didn't do this before in your past life. Here, what was your gig?
I came to New York City as an opera singer and classical theater, and I did that, and then I'm like, oh my God, I spend all my time auditioning, and I end up in Ohio at dinner theater. I'm not doing this. And then I worked for half of the Fortune 500 companies as a corporate spokeswoman. So my Shakespeare and my training and my, when you're on stage for 3 and 4 hours and you're watching the conductor and all this stuff, you've got to focus for long periods of time. And I think somehow that and my linguistic skills, my language, my comprehension skills helped me do some very complicated communication for corporations. And then I ended up in television, financial news. And then I quit and became a fantasy action figure. And in my late 40s and played golf.
What is a fantasy action figure?
I'm assuming exactly what it sounds like, Tim.
Wow, it sounds pretty intriguing.
I modeled for dolls and for comic books.
That is amazing.
An older lady that never was in shape her whole life. My very, very, I got it very late. I'm a very late bloomer. And my boyfriend was 20 years younger. And I built a weekend home outside of New York City, built my dream home, got out there, this big home. I'm all alone. I'm like, I need, and I saw this gorgeous young guy at the gym, and the age difference and the rural environment. Wow. They hated me because I was from New York, and they hated me because I had the gorgeous young guy.
Right.
And so all of that kind of character defamation and the gossip and the lies and the rumors that I lived with actually made me very strong because I'd never been hated, universally hated. And then I wrote a book about women, men and women, age differences, older women, younger men. First-time writer, became an international bestseller because it was controversial. And you know why? It was controversial because I was advocating love.
Right.
Nobody had a problem if I'd been having some little sordid affair and using this guy, but they had a problem with the fact that we lived together and I loved him. And I thought, I got a problem with that.
Yeah.
And
it's only because you're a woman, because men date women 20 years younger all the time, and it's accepted.
Right. Now, your book's called Your book's called Older Women, Younger Men?
Yeah, but it's out of print now. Yeah, it's out of print. The publishers are like, we're done. So, you know what? We don't need it so much anymore. It's now, it is contagious, though. Both of my girlfriends in their 50s are with much younger men. I'm like, dude, I do that.
Are you still with that boyfriend?
No,
okay.
I'm not, unfortunately. No, I'm not. I loved him madly.
Right.
Yeah.
But, love is love, and I don't think anybody can really judge it unless you're in it, But listen, is there anything in society
now...
But
they can judge. If you love a toaster, I'm going to judge you.
Or if I wear a diaper?
Yeah, I'll totally judge you.
All right. So speaking of that, Susan, is there anything in society now that you see that are coming out that could be actually destructive, not only to relationships, but to our social structure? Like, for example, the they babies or whatever.
Babies.
They're
apparently, it's a new thing. Apparently.
Well, like right now, they have to ask if you still identify with as a baby.
The biological doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I never got that choice. And so, I do worry about the influence of being a very young mind and not knowing what you are, and then suddenly being also introduced hormones to alter that.
Right.
I'm not a specialist in this area, but when I grew up, I wanted to be a boy. Not because I physically wanted to be a boy. Boys could do things. Men could do things. I could be the secretary. I could never be the CEO.
Right.
I could be a nurse. I could never be a doctor. So because of that, imagine if I lived in a time period where that was still the case, I would have said, I want to be a boy, just so I could be in business.
Right.
So it is, I am very sensitive to my gay and trans clients, and I know that it's been a horrific journey for them. it puts all of us in a massive learning curve as to how I now have to say she, her.
Right.
I'm a cis female, and it's a new language. It's a massive adjustment.
Right.
It is.
Well, no, fair enough to say. And I think right now, whatever the case may be, we're all human beings. And I think if everyone identifies just as an individual right, but not express it where everyone else has to believe or follow, or if you don't do this, then you will be like, I don't want to be asked if I'm still identifying as a boy or a man. I don't want to be asked that question. I don't want a federal law saying that they have to ask me that question or my kids that question if they're still. And I should have a right, I believe, to have that experience.
I know. And this is part of the integration of this evolution of sexual identity and fluid sexual identity and gender identity and stuff like that. Do you remember when people had a lot of problems using the word marriage with people who were gay?
Yes.
And then part of the holdup was that those that were married, I don't want to qualify the fact that I'm married to a different sex person. And eventually we kind of got over it. I think we did.
Right.
So it's weird because it's all in flux. But like most change, it'll go and then it will kind of even out a little bit. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We're gonna.
It's crazy in the beginning until the dust settles and structure starts to take place.
Well, I mean,
and I know that I should be using pronouns for other people's comfort. I should be saying she, her.
Right.
Well, I mean, and as a therapist, you're probably locked more into that than.
I'm not a therapist, you guys.
Okay,
I'm so sorry. I'm not.
You're not.
I'm not.
You're a love coach.
As a relationship expert, let's say, expert, which honestly, I'd go to you for therapy before I go to most therapists. But as a relationship expert, you have to be careful with your clients. You want to be honoring that to whatever degree. But I do think there's a social, societal issues that we never really given a choice whether we want to believe this or not. We're just kind of thrown on us. And like you said, when the dust settles, you got a whole new social way of living things. And I think most people are not even aware that they're even being thrown in this experiment. And I think people should have the right to decide at that point. But that's another conversation for another time. We got another minute left here. So tell us, how can people, what do you want to say? Question?
Nope, it's good.
Yeah, what's your question?
We're good. Go ahead.
All right. So real quick here, people, I'm sure things have slowed down since COVID in reference to the news and all that stuff. Most of these things, shows you're seeing these days are repeats. But what's next for you, Susan? What are you looking to do? Because, I mean, God, you've been a fantasy, what was that? Action figure, what's next for you?
I'm hoping to delegate. I'm trying to hire more people so that I actually have free time to go to the gym.
Yeah.
I love working on YouTube, and I've got a YouTube channel. I've done over 500 videos, and I love working with my clients. And I'm looking to keep doing the kind of work that I do and keep working with great people like yourselves to, help people navigate this very confusing time.
It is, yeah.
Susan, thank you so much. You've definitely encouraged me, and I think a lot of people. And you also justified certain things, which feels good.
Beautiful and brilliant.
Yes,
where do you find
we needed
that?
you. Appreciate it.
Thank you
so much. Have a great day. Thanks for waking up and sharing your time and wisdom with us.
All right, everybody else that's still
Take
with
care.
us, stay. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we have our recap. We're going to fit everything into a pretty little box.
Shannon's perspective on life. Let's get philosophical here. All right? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.